Hi, and welcome to the how-to video on creating a logic model in the online logicmodelbuilder.com website. So we assume at this point that you have created an account and followed that how-to video, and now you are logged into your account. Your homepage may look a little bit different, but this is essentially what you'll see when you log in. You want to make sure up here in this top right corner to create a logic model that you are in the administrator role. If you also take coursework with the PreventionSmart.com professional development site for professionals in the prevention field, you would be under the student role and you navigate your coursework that way. But to create a logic model, you want to ensure that you're in this administrator role in the top right corner. Over on our left side, you'll see we have some icons here, and if you hover over them, they tell you what those are. You also can click the hamburger and it will expand out that menu. You'll go ahead and click on Logic Models. Now, again, this is my account that I've used to help train people and do some testing, so I have several models in here. You, if this is your first time, likely don't have anything showing. So you'll go ahead and click on this plus button. As I mentioned, I'm overseeing all of this, and so I have a lot of different templates. You will have a limited number. And if you are a community coalition coming to create a logic model for your grant application or for any other purposes for your coalition, you'll just want to use this community coalition logic model builder. That's a really great basic template that's not connected to any level of reporting or anything like that. It's just a great logic model to use. So you come to this page, which is the overview page of the logic model. You'll notice there's overview, builder, and preview. We want to just go ahead and start this process by naming our logic model. This is what will show up on that page we were just on previously. And we, through this process of creating an example logic model, will be using example county, coalition, and logic model, and just some made up information as we create this. So that's what we're going to title this, and we'll click save. This is when I'd like to pause and just say that clicking save early and often is very important. Every time we put information into a section of the form, we're going to want to make sure that we hit save to ensure that we don't lose any of that content and have to go back and re-enter it. So just a note there that you want to click save very often. So then we'll move directly into the builder. So welcome. This is what your builder is going to start to look like. On the bottom left, you'll see add problem. This is where your list of problem statements will show up in this left panel, and you can navigate through your logic model. So go ahead and click where it says new problem node. And what that will do is populate on the right our ability to start this logic model process. What we want to do is up top here, create a short identifier that will end up popping up over here in our navigation pane. So I will just go ahead and tell you our logic model is going to be about youth nicotine use. And as you can see, that did auto-populate right over here. The reason for that short identifier is that that will actually be what shows up over here, which helps us navigate between different problem statements. If we were to also be addressing youth underage drinking, we would create an add a problem over here. It would add another white box, and we'd want to say youth underage drinking or underage drinking problems. So that would help us just navigate through different components of our logic model. All right, but this next section, it asks for our problem statement. This is some introductory information you can read another time, but I'm just gonna go ahead and paste our problem statement in here. So our problem is that example county youth are using nicotine products with data to support that. Now, remember what I said? We're saving. So we'll go ahead and click save. Now we add rationale. This is going to be the risk factors or root causes and protective factors, as well as our local conditions for that specific problem. I'll go ahead and snag from my document and copy and paste in here. Our root cause is availability of nicotine and then data to support that. So you'll note this up here, but we do want to come back you to see what our risk factor is, availability, because that's what we're going to summarize and type in here. This is a very important part because this will later on when we're adding activities and strategies, it will show us what those activities are connected to. If we had a different root cause, it will show those different ones. You'll see that in a second. So we just want to name that availability. We've got our whole statement of our risk factor and protective factor right here. So we'll go ahead and click save. Now it's time to add the local condition. So the local condition for that issue is that minors are able to purchase nicotine products from retailers. And then we have compliance check, pass rates as our data to support that local condition. As a reminder, you do want to make sure data is included in your problem statement, your root cause, and your local condition to help really support and defend what you're addressing. So then we click save. All right. So we have the first part of our logic model developed, those first 3 columns. Now we're going to go ahead and come to this left navigation pane and click Add Strategy. That adds this new strategy node, so go ahead and click on that, and that brings up our ability to add in this information. I'm going to do this a little bit backwards just so that you can see and understand kind of the thought process behind it. Our activity, I'm going to scroll down here, is going to be facilitate and promote 5 tobacco retailer advanced compliance or track trainings in example county. So given that, we'll come back up here. Our description up here for our strategy is going to just be track trainings. Just a general thing. And again, you notice that populates over here. So if we were to be doing multiple different activities around the problem of youth nicotine use, risk factor of availability, local condition of individuals being able to buy it from retailers, we could have several different strategies listed here. All right. Now, you'll recall when I talked about our root causes, how important that is to label that. That's because that pops up right here under rationale. So if I had on the previous screen added more rationale, like another risk factor, say I had added perception of harm as well, with a local condition related to perception of harm of nicotine use, that would also then pop up here. So make sure you click availability so that that rationale is connected to all of these strategies. Finally, the strategies here are the 7 strategies for community change, and they are really a vital thing to identify because prevention works best when you do a variety of activities within different of these 7 strategies. What I can tell you just from my knowledge is that providing these track trainings is building or enhancing skills because we're training retailers how to spot fake IDs, how to know the laws around that, how to refuse sales. So we know that we are building or enhancing skills. If you need any help or support identifying those, contact your local prevention resource center or watch one of the Prevention Smart courses to learn more about that process. We click save. And now we're going to add outcomes. These are going to be short-term, intermediate, and long-term outcomes specifically to this activity of track trainings. You can go ahead and label your outcome node. It doesn't matter so much what you label this. We'll just call that outcomes. That's just there as a placeholder, and you can identify those if you want to. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in our short-term outcomes. Again, a description of what those are is right here. I won't get too in depth into that right now. But of course, any questions, you have info@preventionsmart.com, and we will get you answers as soon as possible for anyone who might need help in this process. So I've got a short-term outcome, which relates directly to the activity we're doing and that data from the local condition that we're going to train 25 people in that track training, get some pre and post data, as well as hopefully improve those compliance check rates. Okay, go ahead and click save. Now we will insert our intermediate outcome. That intermediate outcome relates back to that risk factor of availability. So we're trying to decrease perceived availability, and we show how much we want to change that by and by when. Go ahead and click save. And then our final piece of data is our long-term outcome, which relates back to the problem statement, which is that youth are using nicotine products to begin with. So we want to decrease that number of youth using those. How much and by when? Go ahead and click save. All right. Now you have essentially created your logic model. It's a simple one. We've only got one problem statement, one risk factor. Just to show you how to navigate through this, we can again go back here and click on youth nicotine use. All of that information is still there. As I mentioned earlier, if we know we're addressing availability, but if we also want to address perception of harm, we would click add rationale here. And it would pop up another box, new rationale. We would say perception of harm here, and then insert the actual root cause and local condition. But again, we're keeping our logic model pretty basic here. So I'll go ahead and delete this. And of course, it does give you that. Are you sure you want to do that? Just as a safe mode. I'll go ahead and click save again. We will navigate in the next how-to video how to then download and create this logic model in a really beautiful format. For now, you can know that if you click preview, that is what this will look like, but I'll show you in that next how-to how to best download this. And again, just a reminder here, you can add multiple problem statements. Within each problem statement, you can add multiple risk factors, protective factors, local conditions. And then finally, within those, you could identify multiple different strategies and activities. So if we were to have another activity related to this, this specific thing, we'd say add strategy, and that would add a whole nother strategy. We'd click either availability or the other root cause that we have. And you'll start to see this as you play with it a little bit, how great this looks once we download it. So stay tuned for the next how-to video, and we'll see you then.